Are you ready? Ready to start it? Ready? Who's next? Go, Chris, go.
Alright, so I played Ryan Smith, the preceptor of missions and tactics, and my talent was that I'm always prepared any situation. I'm a Boy Scout. So I had a really fun game. I pretty much snuck around figuring out all the kids' plans and
knocked me out of the dinner.
knocked you out of the dinner table for being a drunkard. My best friend in game was Claire Lucia's character Angel Eye. She called me Smith. I called her Alex when we're in private situations. And I think my favorite part of the game was the end where I snuck under the table and I was about to pop Mr. Snow in the kneecap. And then I saw Bartholomew, played by Max, pull out a gun and I was like, oh crap. So I immediately switched my eyes and gun to him and I shot him twice. And then Mr. Snow ran out of there. I had just a fun time.
So, I had a really interesting game. I had a lot of really intense interactions, especially with Cassie. So, toward the end of the game, I was kind of planning on going with the rest of the students in the teleportation device, and I still had really mixed feelings about it, and I was very confused, but I was pretty okay with going along with it. And then suddenly Mr. Snow's my father! What? What? And then this didn't come up in game, but apparently Tom, played by Roy, was my half-brother via the woman that Mr. Snow was talking about earlier. We have a kind of complicated family history. But at that point I felt like I couldn't really leave because that was really my only tie as far as relatives go, because I didn't even know about Tom. And so I was very confused, and I told the rest of Mr. Snow's favorites that I'd be following them to the teleporter a few minutes later, and then called Cassie back and told her I wouldn't be coming. We had a really intense scene, the most intense interaction I've ever had with another person in game. And then she went off. Mr. Snow escaped. Things got crazy, and I just decided to hell with it, so I ran out and found Cassie, like 10 seconds before game was called.
Oh.
I was Cassie. I'm going to talk a little more about what he was talking about, just to say, that intense scene he talked about, it was actually the first time I'd cried in character, and we were actually hugging each other, and I was kind of crying on his chest, and then I pull back a little, and this moment of just perfection happens because a tear from him drops down right in front of my face and hits the floor. Just this one tear. And it was pretty amazing there. And so then when he ran off because Mr. Snow something, I don't know, I ran away and I found Tom and Miranda, the other of Mr. Snow's favorites. And then I just saw him running out on the other side, through the main space, and I just took off from our conversation going, Indigo! And then we met up about 10 seconds before game. Okay, don't get to tell any more stories. Awesome.
Ruby, you're not telling us today.
Oh, me. Okay. So, I was Distortion. I had a really super fun game. I could basically cast hallucinations on someone if I wanted to. It's really fun. I had a really fun time in the very end scene when Mr. Snow was there, and I had a baseball bat hidden behind the piano that only Matt knew about because he saw me with it, but he didn't really care. So, yeah. But other than that, I had a really fun time when Ethan, who could turn into a marble, was annoying me and Sean, and then he like popped out of marble form and flipped Sean's hat off, and then we started chasing him, and later we caught up with him, and I punched him in the face with brass knuckles, and he punched me, and I hallucinated him that I was invisible, and then ran away. But because he was,
everyone.
yeah, 'cause he was badass. So decided I didn't want to fight him. But yeah, a fun game.
Okay, so, I was Bartholomew, Mr. Snow's personal assistant, and my game pretty much started off as me serving him dinner. I came off and after I ate dinner, I walked into his office, he's sitting there, I asked him whether he'd eaten anything, he said no, so I went and got him his food. And I felt very special about that, because my character was in love with Mr. Snow. Not really in love, but, like, I was so loyal to him that if he had told me to shoot myself, I was ready to do that.
Aww.
So, yeah, I think this was my favorite character I've ever had. And I felt so badass being a British guy with a suit, a poofy shirt, and 2 guns hidden inside my jacket. And yeah, like Chris said before, I think I was one of the only people who died, but it was a great death.
Okay, I'm gonna need a little extra time, but I'm gonna go as fast as possible. Because what I'm telling is what happened with the teleportation machine. The techies all had extremely strange and specific powers. We were not very effective, pretty low rank. And at the end, what ended up happening is that all of those ended up working together perfectly to save the day and get us all out of there. At the very beginning of the game, we were trying to make a mecha, but it didn't exactly work because something went wrong, and it turned into just something that had great connection that would connect with things, but that's not what we wanted. And throughout the game, all of the other techies other than me spent the whole game going around and like breaking into all the different technology things around campus, and they ended up breaking into sessions and finding computers there. Well, when they came out and saved me from my most awkward torture session I've ever been in, one of the techies whose power was to get internet took internet from that thing that they had just connected to, where they had found a file from a previous, somebody who used to come here but got killed in a mission, who had made a way to make a teleportation machine, but they would need a generator system that they didn't know how to make, that just so happened to be what we ended up making with our attempted mecha. And my power was literally just to download information incredibly quickly, so I ended up reading the entire file in 30 seconds, stumbling to the barn where all the cell phones were put together, and we all intensely got around and hooked up wires and put things together, and the 30-second countdown started. And we all ended up getting out of there, at least for a little bit. And so thank you to everybody who made that scene incredibly intense. And great game, everybody. Is that it?
Give it up for our story writers.
Woo!
All scared right there,
Is there anyone here that hasn't gone?
I didn't really